And here's the thing. Thomas Merton once said, we cannot love and live on our own terms. We cannot love and live on our own terms. The ego senses the demise of its claim to have the final say in who we are. That insofar as we know we cannot surrender to what alone fulfills us without losing the control we think we have over the life that we think that we're living, it raises fear. Now, in actual fact, you're like a babe in its mother's arms. Fear has no foundations, especially since this love is translating you into itself. There is no basis for fear. But that in you that doesn't realize it yet doesn't know that. So this is my thought. This is my thought. Sometimes, even in the fear, it takes us to itself in the fear. And as it releases us, and as we meditate on it, we start to see there is no substance to the fear. Does that make sense in a way? I'm afraid. It's like the unknown, it's like the edge, like it just spilling over the brink of something, losing control. I'm afraid to lose control. But in the sweet loss of the control, I realize afterwards it blessed me. By repeatedly being afraid at the edge of the precipice, the intensity of the fear diminishes and ceases. Does that make sense in a way? There's another way to look at it too. Sometimes if the fear grows stronger, the most spiritual thing to do is to back off if you can. Is to back off if you can. And to get to regroup and to reapproach it. Because always safety first. Always safety first. I want to go back to what I was talking about last night about trauma. If you are a trauma survivor, what is the essence of trauma? The essence of trauma, to be traumatized, to be incested or beaten, to be traumatized. Any kind of trauma. Trauma is the experience of being powerless. To find a boundary between you and that which is about to or already is inflicting serious harm or even death. That's trauma. It's the most acute, painful experience we can have as a human being. Trauma is the experience of powerlessness to establish a boundary between you and that which is about to or already is inflicting serious harm and even death is trauma. If it reaches the full crescendo, you disappear into the white-hot heat of the trauma. It's kind of a psychic death. You disappear. If you weren't killed, you come out afterwards. You're so glad you survived, but not quite, because the trauma lives on inside of you. Next point. Flashbacks and post-traumatic stress disorder. What is a triggering event in trauma? A triggering event is anything that resembles the original trauma. If it resembles the original trauma, the central nervous system will re-experience the original trauma. Someone comes back from the war, they're sitting there at a traffic light, the car next to them backfires, the person has a panic attack. Why? Because the sudden noise is like the battlefield. If it resembles it, even though it's different in every other way, if it's lined up just in one way, the person will re-experience the original trauma. Someone who's incested, sexually abused, they get married, they're in a relationship, they love each other very much. When the partner approaches them sexually, they get nauseated, or they feel they're going to black out, or they start getting very angry, or they'll sabotage it in some way. Why? Because the sexual intimacy resembles the way that they were traumatized sexually. What if the essence of trauma is losing control? And what if God comes along and requires the complete loss of control? Actually, to empower you with love. It's actually the opposite of what hurt you. But because you know what it's like to lose control, you'll be afraid of the surrender into infinite safety. Because you carefully watch over your heart. This is where I think this is very intimate. Contemplation and the healing of woundedness touch each other. And as we learn to work this through at our own pace, respecting ourselves, this is how we're healed, I think.